Hey guys, I'm a depressed engineer, and today's going to be another short video. Today I want to talk about just some weird things I've noticed at my jobs. So, especially in defense contracting and almost every job nowadays, the network for your company will most likely block things. So, Facebook and Reddit and things like that, like social media. They'll try to block that because they're time wasters, obviously, and they don't want you wasting time at your desk. But here's the funny thing. So Reddit normally isn't going to be blocked because the IT guys love Reddit just as much as anyone else would. So they're not going to block a website that they go to all the time. But Facebook is usually blocked, but I noticed that at my current job, Facebook is totally allowed and YouTube is allowed. But you want to know what isn't? Websites like Imgur. Imgur is blocked. You know what else is blocked? Quora. But you know what's allowed? Forbes. Why is Quora blocked but Forbes is allowed? It doesn't make any sense to me. So it's just weird when these companies end up blocking certain sites, but they'll allow Facebook and YouTube because they know there's useful information on YouTube. And Facebook, they have their own Facebook page, so they want to promote their own page and they want to allow their employees to go check out their company's Facebook page. But I just recently created a site called Corey'sCurios.com, and I can't even access that at my own job. So I can't access my own website, but I can go on Facebook because, you know, that makes a whole lot of sense. But to some degree I get it because it is a new website, so it's uncategorized and they don't know what to label it as. But it's just mind-boggling to me that websites like Facebook and YouTube are totally allowed, and they just won't even let me check out my own website and let me edit a few things. And a lot of times I'll just end up going on WordPress and writing up my own blogs on there, and then I'll post them onto my website later, so I have kind of like a cloud that I can go to. So some of the other things I'll check out at work, they normally, especially in defense contracting jobs again, but I've noticed this at a lot of engineering companies, the software and everything is so out of date that they keep using Internet Explorer. So for a lot of the stuff we have that's internal to our company, I have to use Internet Explorer all the time, and I hate Internet Explorer. But it's the only option because everything else is freaking incompatible with Google Chrome. So I end up going in Internet Explorer, and sometimes when the day's going really slow, you know how if you go to a new tab on Internet Explorer, they will show you like a bunch of articles from, I think, MSN or something like that. So sometimes I just get bored and I'll just go through those. And honestly, sometimes I wonder why that's allowed, just because that's kind of a time waster too. But I don't know. The logic behind trying to block websites can get a little ridiculous sometimes. And it always makes me wonder if I get pinged for it every time I go to an illegal website, and then they're just gonna come to my desk one day and be like, so we noticed that you've been going into, you tried going into Imgur and looking at pictures. What's wrong with you? And be like, I don't know, man. I guess I just get bored sometimes in my engineering job and I just want to entertain myself. And they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're trying to stay happy and be entertained. How evil and cruel. But make sure you check out our Facebook page. It's like, what? Oh yeah, and here's a YouTube video about things that relate to engineering. I'm like, yeah, but if you have if you have YouTube open to everybody at work, they can just look up whatever and listen to whatever music videos they want to. So I don't know. It's very odd. But the other thing I'll do at work is right now I've been going to freecodecamp.org. In another video I said freecodingcamp.com, and I don't even know if that's a website, but the website I've been using is freecodecamp.org, and it's been really helpful in learning HTML5 and CSS3, Bootstrap, jQuery, and I'm actually doing the project section right now where I'm working on a portfolio page and a tribute page. And it's funny because they kind of throw you into the deep end, because if you really want your website to look really nice, you want to put JavaScript in there too. And freecodecamp.org doesn't really talk much about JavaScript until later. So they just kind of throw you in the deep end. They're like, well, you know, just search the internet for what you need to do. And I mean, that's really what it comes down to when you're programming things, is you're going to run into a ton of obstacles and things that don't work, and you're just going to have to Google search a lot of things to figure out what your code's going to do in order to work. So I've been doing freecodecamp.org, and then I've been using, I think it's called codepen.io, for writing all of that code for my projects, and that's been really helpful too, just to be able to visually see other people's projects and see my own and type it all out and have it all color coded and everything. My other option probably would have been Notepad++ and then just making HTML files or CSS files or whatever. But the codepen.io is really nice for just practicing HTML and CSS and JavaScript, so feel free to check that out if you want to. I found a lot of the time when I'm at work too is when I'm doing a lot of different tasks, or if I'm working on freecodecamp.com or .org, that I'll just put on YouTube videos in the background, and it's usually music videos or just music in general. But I always find it funny because sometimes I'll listen to Rage Against the Machine, and it feels so ironic being like, killing in the name of... I'm just sitting at my cubicle, doing corporate work, like, okay, I gotta make sure I copy and paste this into my spreadsheet correctly. And then in the background, I could kill a man. It's just like, oh, this is a little bit of a juxtaposition here. I'm like rocking out, and I'm like, yeah, fucking screw the man, fuck it. And then somebody walks in my office like, hey, Corey, can I get your help in this thing? I'm like, oh yes, yeah, I'll be there in a second. It's actually really funny. So, and one of the things I've noticed with electrical engineering especially, there's not a whole lot you can Google search for electrical engineering, because a lot of the stuff we do is, working with hardware. I mean, I really can't Google search much of my job now, is because I don't even touch hardware anymore. I just fill out spreadsheets or write up a form. I mean, you can Google search how to use Microsoft Word. Oh, how do I make this line do this? And then there's Excel. You can kind of look up formulas and everything, but I don't even use formulas anymore. It's really basic stuff that I could have done in high school, honestly. But there are things in electrical engineering you can look up though. So a lot of it's data sheets. So when I worked in Indiana and I troubleshooted, still don't know what that is, a lot of different electronics, I would Google search what this product did. So it would be a double EEPROM. You find the data sheet for that, and then you get all the, the parameters for that part. And there were a few times where you could say, well, how do I analyze the circuit? And a lot of times, people would say, well, you just plug it into PSpice or something. Then it almost felt like I was going back to school, because then I'm looking up, okay, Ohm's law, this is how you do a mesh current analysis. And it almost felt like I was actually doing something related to my major, which was pretty cool. But a lot of times it was, again, really old technology. So sometimes it would just be, hey, let's try to find a part that's compatible with this so we can replace it. And it just, again, there's not much you can really look up without, sometimes you're better off just going back into your textbooks if you're really trying to get something more technical. But there's resources out there. But for a lot of the stuff I've done at work, there's not much to really Google search. And that's the one thing I'm really glad that they don't frickin' block Google, because, man, I'd be screwed. But they do have Bing, and I've heard Bing's okay. But I've just really not, there's nothing really intuitive about Bing. It's kind of similar to Google, but there's always just something about Bing that's like, it feels so blocky and gross. I just don't know how to really explain it. And the results aren't quite the same. It's just, ugh. I don't know. I mean, I get Bing probably pays, or they have people pay to be seen in search results just like Google. So the search results are going to be a little bit different than Google, but there's just something off when I use Bing, and it's just like, ugh, I don't want to be using this. That's the default because Internet Explorer is favored way over anything else in the jobs I've been at, so fun times. I mean, honestly, when it comes down to blocking websites at work, I just don't really see the... I mean, I could see blocking things like pornography, because obviously you don't want that kind of stuff showing up at your job, and then it makes the corporation look bad, potentially. But for majority of like the whole Quora versus Forbes thing, like I can go to a Forbes article, but I can't go to Quora. Like, what's that about? Some of that stuff doesn't even make any sense at all. And it just seems really dumb, and I don't know. Especially when your job's really slow and you just want to read stuff online and they block certain things. You're just sitting there going, okay, well, I just wanted to read this one thing, but now I can't even do it, so now I just have to stare at this wall for the next 8 hours. Sweet. I don't know. For me, this is probably more me just venting out than anything else. Maybe it's a little bit of Corey's story quarry or something like that. But I don't know. That's just the experience I've had, and it gets kind of annoying at a certain point. When I worked at my other job, I could access anything because we just had a Verizon modem, and I wasn't connected to my last job's network, so I could just easily browse whatever I wanted to, and it was super nice because I could download software. That's the other thing about these corporations that you work at. Like, they just assume you're too stupid to install software, so they're like, oh, it has to be approved by IT and you gotta do it yourself, and you're sitting there going, I just want to download like C Cleaner or something. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm not dumb enough to go, oh, I wonder what this random software is. Oops, I got a virus. Now I gotta freaking delete everything on my computer. Like, and I kind of get it with some jobs, because some jobs have some delicate information. They don't want you to download something that's going to end up leaking it. But especially for engineers, I feel like engineers should just have administrative privileges, because I don't know, majority of the engineers I've met are smart enough to know what to download and what not to download. In any case, guys, that's really all I wanted to talk about. I appreciate you guys listening to me ranting on about stupid crap. But in any case, I appreciate your support as always, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.